All right. Time to dive into something I know every teacher dreams about, making that classroom the best it can be.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
You've already shared some awesome resources about getting a classroom set up,
Right.
and we're here to help you make it real.
Yeah.
Because this is about way more than just where the desks go, right?
It is, yeah.
It's about building a space that gets kids pumped to learn.
Absolutely.
Because we all remember those classrooms, right? The
Yeah.
ones that were super inspiring or the ones that were just
Yeah,
blah.
totally.
And we want to help you avoid those blah ones.
Yes, for sure.
So the cool thing is you've already got a great foundation going here.
Mm-hmm.
The resources that you've shared highlight things like safety, which seems obvious,
Right,
and
yeah.
cleanliness,
Right, yeah.
and then visibility. And these might seem basic,
Yeah.
but they make a huge difference.
Oh, they absolutely do, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you got a student and they're worried about tripping over stuff,
Oh, totally.
or they can't see the board,
Yeah.
they're not going to be focused on what you're trying to teach.
Right.
A well-organized classroom, it can actually lower anxiety.
Yeah.
And it helps kids focus more, and that leads to better results.
Absolutely.
It just creates this sense of calm
Totally.
and like a clarity.
And I think one thing that I don't think we think about a lot, but when I saw it in your resources, I was like, yes,
What's that?
that relationship with the school custodian,
Yes.
so important.
Oh, huge.
But we don't always think about it.
Right. It's like having a secret weapon. If you've got a good relationship with your custodian, you're going to have quicker responses if something breaks.
Yes.
Better access to supplies. I mean,
Totally.
it just makes for a cleaner, healthier learning environment.
I love that. A secret weapon, the behind-the-scenes help.
Totally.
That makes everything run.
Yes.
And speaking of being ready for anything, your resources talked about being ready for emergencies,
Yeah.
and not just the fire drill, but being mentally ready for anything.
Yes.
Which I think is something every teacher can relate to.
Big time. It's more than just knowing like where to line up when the fire alarm goes off, right?
Right.
It's about knowing your students.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them uses a wheelchair or
Yeah.
or has really bad anxiety during an emergency.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've got to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
communication with families if something happens.
So important.
Yeah.
Those are really good points.
Mm-hmm.
And, we won't go into specific resources right now, but it's definitely something to think about
Yeah.
as you make your own plan.
Yes.
So let's talk about something that's always a hot topic, seating charts.
Oh, yeah.
Are they about, being in control, or is it more about, helping kids learn best?
That's a good question. And it seems like your resources say yes to seating charts.
Okay.
But with a catch, you got to stay flexible.
Okay.
It's not about you're in this seat all year.
Right.
It's more like, how could I use this seating chart to help my students?
Right. That reminds me, actually, of this one time I tried a new seating chart.
Uh-oh.
And, well, let's just say it involved a hamster
Okay.
who escaped.
Oh, no.
And a very enthusiastic student.
Oh.
And just a lot of chaos.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a lesson learned in adaptability.
Wow.
But really, how can our listener use seating charts to help their students learn?
Well, I think a good place to start is ask yourself, what am I trying to teach this semester?
Okay.
And, what are my students' needs?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you want to do more group work.
Right.
You could do that think pair share thing where kids work in pairs and then share with the class.
Yeah.
Or that jigsaw method where everyone becomes the expert on one part and then they teach it to their group.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because then they're accountable for their own learning.
Exactly.
But they also get to work as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to change the seating chart throughout the year. Maybe there's a group that's just not getting something.
Right.
Switch it up. Put them together so they can work more closely.
It's about making it work for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of making it work, let's talk about wall decorations.
Yes. Because I think we've all seen those classrooms where it's just
Too much.
decorations everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it feels like, a doctor's office.
Sterile.
Super sterile.
Yeah.
So how do you find that sweet spot
Right.
where it's visually appealing,
Right.
but not overwhelming?
Yeah, your resources had some good stuff about keeping it simple
Okay.
and making sure that everything is relevant.
Right.
Using those walls to actually help you teach.
Right.
So instead of having generic posters,
Yeah, yeah.
put up student work.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a gallery wall.
Yes.
And as you move through your units,
yeah.
you change out the work. So it's their learning is becoming part of
Oh, it's so true.
the classroom.
it becomes like a real, tangible thing.
Yeah. And it's so motivating for them
Yeah.
to see their own work up.
To feel that sense of pride.
Yes. You could even have, like, a student spotlight.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and each week or whatever,
Yeah.
a different student gets to, showcase something.
That's amazing. And then, of course, we have that other essential element, the rules and expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have
The
the...
non-negotiables.
But even those, like, you don't want to just, like,
Right.
slap them up on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. What did the resources say about that?
One of the things I saw was, like, get the kids involved.
Oh, that's a good idea.
At the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
come up with the rules together.
So smart.
So that way they feel ownership.
Yeah, it's not my rule.
Exactly.
It's our rules.
Yes, exactly. We came up with them together.
I love that.
And it really builds that sense of community.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is what we want.
Yeah, so important. And okay, so let's talk about all the stuff you need.
Oh, yeah. The materials.
The materials.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get overwhelmed.
Oh, tell me about it. Especially as a new teacher.
Especially as a new teacher.
Yeah.
And one of your resources said you don't need to have it all figured out on day one.
No.
Be resourceful. Start with what you have.
Exactly. You can do a lot with a little.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Any tips for doing that? For making the most of what you've got?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, look around the school.
Oh, that's smart.
Go to the library. See what they've got.
Yes.
See if you can, raid the art room for some supplies.
Totally.
You might be surprised what you find.
Yeah.
And then also talk to other teachers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
They probably got stuff they're not using.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you can borrow things.
So smart.
Sharing is caring, right?
It is.
It's all about building that community.
Yes. So true. Okay, so let's talk about, I don't know if it's the elephant in the room or the laptop in the classroom these days, but technology.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
It can be amazing.
Game changer.
But it also
Comes with challenges.
Yes. A whole other set of challenges.
Absolutely. And one of your resources talked about setting boundaries
Oh, yes.
with technology, which I thought was really interesting.
So important.
Because it's so easy to get sucked in.
It is. And it's like you're trying to teach and you're like,
Right.
where was I?
I do it too. I'm like, hold on, I just got to check this.
Yeah. And the kids are like on their phones.
Totally.
So you've got to have those guidelines.
Yes.
Like, when can they use their devices?
Right.
When are they off limits?
And be consistent. Right.
Yes. Be consistent and model it yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Like, put your phone away.
Oh, I know. It's hard, though.
It is hard.
It is hard.
It is hard. But it's so important, right?
So important.
Because we want them to be present.
Yes. We want them to be focused.
Present and focused. Two very important things.
Yes. And the other thing with technology is have a backup plan.
Oh, always.
Because we've all been there, right?
Yes.
The Wi-Fi goes out.
Yes.
Or your computer decides to die.
In the middle of a lesson, of course.
Right when you need it the most.
Why does it always happen at the worst time?
I know, right?
Yeah.
So have a plan B.
Yes.
And a plan C if you need it.
I love it.
So that you're ready for anything.
So you don't panic.
Exactly. Keep that learning going.
Be flexible. Right.
Be flexible, adapt.
It's a theme. Being flexible and adaptable.
It is a theme.
We should have had like a bingo card for how many times we say it.
Totally.
Okay, before we wrap up, we got to talk about the heart of the classroom.
Ooh, what's that?
The teacher's desk. It's more than just a place to like stack papers, right?
Right. Yeah.
It really sets the tone.
It does. It's command central.
Yeah.
And one of the things your resources talked about that I thought was so interesting was how an organized teacher space can actually help the students.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, think about it. When your desk is messy,
Yeah.
it can make the whole room feel chaotic,
That's true, yeah.
even subconsciously,
Totally. Yeah.
But when your space is organized,
Yeah.
it kind of sends this message
Right.
that this is a place where we value, order
Yes.
and focus.
It's like a silent reminder.
Exactly. But you don't want it to feel like sterile either.
Right. We want it to be welcoming, too.
Right. So that's where that personalization comes in.
Okay, I like that.
And I'm not talking about like going crazy with,
Yeah.
a million decorations, but just a few personal touches
Yeah, yeah.
can really make a difference. Like a picture
Yeah.
or, a little plant.
A little something, yeah.
Or you could even have student work rotating through.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. So that it feels, homey.
It's like that balance between professional and approachable.
Exactly.
So good.
And you know what else I love?
What?
Getting the kids involved.
Oh, yeah. Always a good idea.
Right. Like maybe they could help you come up with a welcome banner
Oh, cute.
or a theme for the bulletin board
Yeah, yeah.
so they feel like it's their classroom too.
I love that.
Right.
It makes it theirs.
It's not just your classroom.
Right.
It's all of yours.
It's a team effort.
Exactly. And I think as we're wrapping up here, that's such an important thing to remember. It's not about like having the perfect classroom.
Right.
It's about making it your own.
Totally.
And it's going to evolve and change.
Right. It's a process. Right.
It's a process.
And then should change every year with your students.
Exactly. You're going to figure out what works for you
Absolutely.
and, what works for your students.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into making the best learning environment possible.
Yes. Thank you.
And we hope you feel ready to go out and transform your classroom.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe you'll inspire us with what you do.
Yes.
Until next time, happy teaching.